Ladies, it's Mrs. Roberts. I wanted to give you a realistic fiction book recommendation. The book that I'm going to talk to you about today is The Poet X. It's an incredible read, but I definitely would suggest this is an 8th grade title and up. So those of you in younger grades, definitely have a conversation with your parents, but I do think the content's a little bit grittier and justifies an 8th grade to high school reading level. All right, so our story is about Xiomara, and Xiomara has parents who immigrated from the Dominican Republic to Harlem, which is in New York City. And she has a very strict mother who definitely wants her to really conform, follow church guidelines, and follow the really strict rules that she has in her house. Xiomara is coming of age. She is wanting to push boundaries a little bit more. She definitely has a lot of questions about what she wants her life to look like, and that really seems to be different than what her mother's expectations for her are. She has a talent and a gift for writing poetry, and her mother doesn't want her really to pursue that. And so in our story, we see a lot of pushback and questioning from Xiomara about what she should do, whether or not she should join the slam poetry club at school and kind of defy her mother's rules, or she should be a good girl and follow her mother's orders. So that's a piece of our story. Really, the story is about family and love and culture, and it's really was a window book for me because there were lots of pieces that I have not experienced personally, but I loved reading about and learning about living in a big city, having parents who grew up in a different culture but came here, and really having to fight what our country looks like versus what the rules that they had as children, and what things they decide to keep and what things they decide to let go. There is a little bit of a love story in this book. Xiomara has a crush on a student in her biology class, and she also has to keep that relationship a secret. And so this is that coming of age story where you are fighting to be independent, but you are also still living under your parents' roof, and you are really wanting to determine what you want for your life, and as well as staying close to your parents too. So I think this is an incredible story. There are lots of really interesting elements. It's written in verse, and so because Xiomara is a slam poet, we really get into her life through her poetry. It's a very quick read. When you have books written in verse, there are pages with short poems and there are pages that go on a little bit longer, but I definitely think this is one of those stories that you could consume in really just a few sittings. And so if you're stuck with kind of in a reading rut right now, realistic fiction may be just the ticket to get you reading again. And again, I would highly recommend The Poet X.